Inflammation is supposed to be protective. It's how the body fights infections and heals injuries. But when inflammation becomes chronic and excessive, particularly in the brain, it transforms from protector to destroyer. And one of the ways chronic inflammation damages the brain is by rapidly consuming NAD+, creating an energy crisis that neurons cannot survive. Let me walk you through how this works. When brain inflammation activates, immune cells and neurons themselves release inflammatory signals, molecules like cytokines and chemokines. These signals trigger a whole cascade of energy-intensive responses. Immune cells proliferate and migrate. Neurons activate stress defenses. And critically, inflammatory processes activate certain enzymes that use NAD+ as fuel. One particularly important enzyme family is the CD38 proteins, which sit on cell membranes and break down NAD+ at extraordinary rates when inflammation is high. Think of CD38 as a NAD+ shredder that goes into overdrive during inflammatory states. In young, healthy tissues with mild, temporary inflammation, this is manageable. NAD+ gets consumed, but it's quickly replenished once the threat passes. But in chronic neuroinflammation, like what happens in Alzheimer's, CD38 is constantly activated, perpetually destroying NAD+ faster than the brain can make it. The negative implications are severe. Alzheimer's brains exist in a state of persistent neuroinflammation that can last for years or decades. Microglia, the brain's immune cells, become chronically activated and dysfunctional. They release inflammatory molecules continuously, creating a hostile environment. And all of this inflammation acts like a constant leak in the brain's NAD+ supply, draining the energy reservoir day after day. This helps explain why Alzheimer's is so devastating. It's not just that plaques and tangles directly kill neurons, though they do. It's that chronic inflammation creates an energy-depleted environment where neurons cannot function properly, cannot repair damage, and eventually die from metabolic exhaustion. The inflammation literally starves the brain of the energy currency it needs to survive. Now, here's where anti-inflammatory dietary strategies become interesting. If chronic inflammation drains NAD+, then reducing inflammation should help preserve it. Foods with anti-inflammatory properties might indirectly support NAD+ levels by calming the immune overactivation that consumes it. Anti-inflammatory foods include fatty fish rich in omega-3s like salmon and sardines, olive oil, leafy greens, tomatoes, nuts, and certain spices like turmeric and ginger. These foods contain compounds that can dampen inflammatory signaling. Omega-3s compete with inflammatory omega-6. Polyphenol from plants modulate immune responses, and various phytonutrients help regulate inflammatory gene expression. The positive angle is that anti-inflammatory eating patterns, like the Mediterranean diet, have shown genuine cognitive benefits in observational studies. People who consistently eat these diets have lower rates of cognitive decline and dementia. While we can't prove this works specifically through NAD+ preservation, the biological logic is sound. Less inflammation should mean less NAD+ consumption, which means more energy available for neurons. But we need substantial caution here. Dietary anti-inflammatory strategies are not medicine. They cannot shut down established neuroinflammation in someone with advanced Alzheimer's. The inflammatory processes in diseased brains are complex, self-perpetuating, and often driven by factors beyond dietary control, like accumulated protein aggregates and dying neurons that themselves trigger more inflammation. Furthermore, eliminating all inflammation would be dangerous. Some inflammatory signaling is necessary for normal brain function, synaptic plasticity, and even memory formation. The goal isn't zero inflammation, it's balanced inflammation that responds appropriately to threats and then resolves. There's also timing to consider. Anti-inflammatory diets probably work best for prevention or very early intervention, before chronic neuroinflammation becomes entrenched. Once you're dealing with advanced disease, dietary changes alone are unlikely to reverse the inflammatory cascade. The realistic takeaway: Chronic inflammation is indeed a major drain on brain NAD+ and a contributor to Alzheimer's progression. Eating anti-inflammatory foods makes biological sense and shows some epidemiological support. It's safe, it has other health benefits, and it might help preserve NAD+ indirectly. But it's not a cure, not a guaranteed preventive, and it needs to be part of a comprehensive approach to brain health that includes other metabolic supports.